welcome to episode 50 of the Pop Collectors Alliance podcast, the Funko App, children's books, and more ECCC. I'm your host, Rick, as always, joined by my co-bearded co-host, Captain Strongbeard, Mr. Piper. Wednesday evening. I'm sick as a dog, but how are you doing?
I'm excited for the fact that I am not the one that is sick this time.
Oh man, I'm feeling it. I was running a fever before we did this, but I'm just powering through. So you guys might not get a long episode this week, but we're definitely bringing you an episode pre-ECCC.
I'm excited.
As always, you're listening to the only podcast on the internet dedicated to empowering pop collectors. And anytime you're listening to the PCA, you are entering the no flip zone. That's a good hold for being sick.
I'm proud of you there. It sounded very nice and juicy.
And I didn't cough there. Just a little flimmy, right? Just a little flimmy.
No vomit. No vomit is good vomit.
All right, before we get to weekly pickups, again, as you guys know, I travel all the time. That's primarily why I'm sick this week. I think I've just traveled my little heart out so much that I finally caught the flu. But, well, actually, I do have two stories. I was thinking I only had one story this week, but more Rick stories from the road this week. We'll say we got two good ones, two gems for you guys. It seems as if I'm in a bad rut with my traveling.
Rick stories from the road.
That's a great effect. I'm going to put that in there. So this week I traveled to Virginia and Washington, D.C. And normally when I travel up there, I try to take a day to go and spend with my family because it's so close to that vicinity. It's just a 2-hour drive and I can rent a car and go. So, you know, wake up early. We did the auction. I got up at 4 a.m, got 2 hours of sleep, got on the plane, landed in Washington, D.C. at the Reagan International Airport, went to the rental car place, picked up my rental car. Everything was going smooth. I'm like, man, I told my grandparents, I'm like, look, I'll be there at 2:00. I was on time to just dot all my I's and cross all my T's here. So I'm driving back to my grandparents' house and I see Target and I was like, wow, I only got 10-inch Hedwig from Target on TargetCon because, sidebar story, I got everything loaded into my wish list the night before. So all I had to do was go in and add it to my cart in the morning and check out. Well, immediately, everything drops at 8 a.m. I'm like, yes, thumbs up, drop it in my cart. And then, you know, just like we tell everyone on the podcast, make sure your credit card information is saved. You have a login to the Target app. You can check out one click. I get everything in my cart. I go to check out. It goes, your card is declined. I go, what? So I was like, what's going on with my card? I know that there's money on my card. Not only one, I get paid. I get paid on Fridays. And two, you know, I have money on my card. So I go, all right, well, maybe it's the wrong CVV number or whatever that CCV number, whatever it is on the back of your card. So I go back in, validate all my card information and click process again. It goes, your card has been declined. At this point, I'm getting my boys ready for school, trying to do this on the side. I am fuming. I'm like, no, this can't be possible. So I go and get another card out. And by the time I had got that card information put into the app, everything was sold out except for 10-inch Hedwig.
That's the only thing you could even get.
At that time, that's all I could get. So I'm thinking, I'll go to this Target. It's in Podunk Town, Virginia. It's the biggest store they got in that town. I'll check out Target. So I get off the interstate. I first stop at McDonald's. I just grab some chicken tenders and then go over to Target. Well, I go in the store. They don't have anything. And actually, you know what's funny is the guy in the store, I go,
like, they didn't even get anything?
Well, they only had like the Ewoks left, the 10-inch Ewok. So I would assume that they didn't get a lot in the store. So I go up to the electronics guy and I'm like, hey, do you guys have anything left from Friday? And he scoffs at me. He's like, you should know better. All those Funko guys come in here and buy everything immediately. And then I look.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys. Where your stuff at?
Yeah, I know, right? I'm one of those guys. I'm that collector. I'm going to sell it all on eBay. But I told him, I'm like, bro, don't start with me. I'm from Fort Worth. We know what it's like to lose everything in seconds. Okay. So don't school me. So he kind of laughs, and then I leave, and I go out to my car, and there's a little blemish on the car. I'm like looking at my car as I'm walking out the store, and I see like what appears to be a dent. And I go, what is that? And as I get closer, not only is it a dent, but it begins to grow in size.
It is the world's largest dent.
Until I finally reach my car, and it's the size of a softball.
It was that guy that you made mad in Target. He ran outside and just like headbutted your car.
No, we laughed. We had a laugh over it, But I come out and
he was laughing at the fact he destroyed your car.
Well, maybe. I mean, if he could do that instantaneously, not knowing me prior to the events of that day, yeah, okay.
He got one of those cart robots to do it.
He got that, what's the Jamaican psychic lady, Mrs. Cleo, to tell him that I was coming.
Grandma Cleo came out there and she headbutted your car.
Well, I parked in the parking lot, and there was a car parked beside me. I get in my car, and I'm like, well, there's nothing I can do. I drive down the road. I call my wife, and she's like, you need to call Avis. So I called Avis, and I was like, hey, this has happened. They're like, you need a police report. So I went back to Target and asked the security guy. Now I'm already off schedule, so I'm all flustered. The security guy goes back and reviews the tapes, and he's like, no, bro, there's no one appears to hit your car. He's like, I've got a great view on it. I see it. You can't tell if anyone hit my car or anything like that. So, and it doesn't look like, my car doesn't move or anything like that. So I'm like, well, it has to be a McDonald's. So this is the fun part. So I go back to McDonald's, and I go into the store because I was in the store before. I didn't go through the drive-thru. There's too many cars in there. But I see a camera pointed out to the parking spot I was in. And so I go in there, and let me tell you, this is rural Virginia. I can say it. I'm from Virginia. Sometimes some of them people are not the brightest people in the whole world, You catch my vibe?
I do. I know about the vibe you're speaking of.
Yeah, like Wrong Turn or Deliverance. Yeah. So I go in the McDonald's, and I asked them, I was like, hey, my car was out here. I see a camera. And she goes, well, let me get my manager for you 1 second. And that's probably...
Sir, that is not a camera. That is a can with a string attached to it that we painted to look like a camera.
You call here on the telephone? We got one of them there string can thingies. So she goes back to get her manager, and that's exactly how she talks too. And that's like
she ain't never met a cigarette she didn't like.
Yeah, that's a spot on impression, even with my sick voice too. It's like dead on. She's
it kind of sounds like from Silence of the Lambs.
Yes, kind of
like Buffalo Bill.
It puts the lotion on the skin, or it gets the hose again. Funniest scene from a movie. Not safe for kids. Not safe for people who don't like cussing or partial nudity. Clerks 2, the Jay and Silent Bob scene with the music from Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, just watch it. You can just type it in. Type in Clerks 2, Jay and Silent Bob, Silence of the Lambs, and you'll laugh your head off, because every time I see it, I spit out like my drink when I watched it the first time. But anyways, I digress.
Would you be friends with me? I'd be friends with me.
That's the
TV version.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the PG-13 version. So you're exactly right. So she goes back to get her manager. I'm thinking, at least the manager will know. They'll have a clue of what the camera can and can't do, whatever. She goes, now which camera you talking about? And I go, this is the manager talking now. And I go, that camera right there, you can see it above the drive-thru. It's pointing out to the people at the drive-thru and over to my parking spot. You could see where my car was parked. And she goes, now which camera you talking about again?
I just finished saying the sentence that answers your question.
Exactly. And I go, did she really just say that? And I go, okay, there's a camera you can see right there. And this time I walk through the counter area and I point to that camera. I'm like, do you see in the top right corner? That is where my car was parked. Someone hit my car. I need to pull the tape because I'm calling the cops over here either way. I want to be proactive with this and be ready when they get here. She's like, I don't control them cameras. That's the store manager. And I go, okay, well, can you call your store manager? Because the cops are going to come here, and either way, they're going to pull the tapes on it. She's like, she ain't working today. Okay. Can you
There's
call?
only one person in the store that has the grade level high enough to turn the camera on, or like to hit rewind.
Exactly, right? You would think that they would at least have someone else there that could perform this act, but apparently they do not. So she calls.
Only Betsy is aware of how to do this.
Exactly. She knows how to run the shake machine and the security cameras.
That's her whole job.
So they call the manager, and the manager's like, and then she hangs up the phone. She's like, well, probably ain't best to get the police over here because that camera don't record. And I was like,
that's so good. That's great.
And so I was like, well, I guess I just have to file a police report. So I filed a police report. And then this whole process, like, I'm transparent. I'm trying to talk to Avis. I'm talking to, the insurance company or whatever that they have their security firm. And I get the police report done. The cop was really nice. Had a great time. Came over and I told him, I'm sorry for wasting your time, but I have to fill out a police report. Did that. Great guy. And then I go to turn my rental car in. I'm like, what do I do? She goes, oh, don't worry. I'll do a pink slip and it'll be fine. And I was like, okay, you're just going to say the damage was there. And she's like, no, yes, no, you fill this form.
Don't worry about what I'm going to say. Just get out of here, guys.
No, she didn't. She made me fill out a form that was like, this is what happened. So I had to put that number on it. And the second part of my story is I get to the airport fine, get on the airplane. We're boarding. One of my problems with American Airlines is everyone's priority in American Airlines. So when people don't get upgrades or they feel like they've been shamed or wronged by an airline, they get testy. And over my past couple of flights, I've had some real incidents with people like getting testy. One woman grabbed another woman by the throat and told her not to pass her. There were a couple, I told you guys that on the last podcast, that were, arguing for an hour coming back from Toy Fair, New York. And then
you fell out of the bathroom.
Yes. So all of this is going on. So this time I don't know, we'll call him Mr. Rogers because he kind of looked like a richer version of Mr. Rogers, maybe a little bit heavier, but we'll just go with Mr. Rogers. So Mr. Rogers gets on the plane and everyone's waiting for Mr. Rogers to sit in his seat. I get in my seat. I'm fine. He decides to open up his suitcase and pull out all the things he needs. So a book, headphones, magazine. And he's taking.
So just everything that he owns.
While he's blocking the aisle, another individual tries to walk by him so he can put his bag in the overhead bin behind Mr. Rogers. And Mr. Rogers goes, what the are you doing?
Not Mr. Rogers.
Not Mr. Rogers like. And my mouth hit the floor. I was like, did that dude just say that? And the guy was like, excuse me? He goes, you don't have to be such a I'm trying to bleep all this out while I'm talking. And my mouth hits the floor. I'm like, people talk like this? He's like, you just had to maneuver by me. You're being a real So I was like, okay, well, the guy ends up having to sit beside Mr. Rogers, the one that he just had an altercation with.
Oh, dude.
Which is directly behind me.
That sucks.
So we're getting ready to take off. And then all of a sudden, the stewardess comes by Mr. Rogers, and she tells the guy in the middle who was, not Mr. Rogers, but the dude Mr. Rogers got an altercation with. And she's like, sir, you need to put up your tray table. And the guy was leaning over to pick up a magazine out of the back of the seat in front of him. And he didn't put his tray table up immediately, but you could tell he's probably going to comply because he's like, okay. Mr. Rogers grabs said tray table and slams it into the seat. And he's like, you need to put your tray table up because she told you to do it. And then the guy in the middle is like, bro, do you want to go? And I go, I just put my headphones on and put it on mute. And the next thing I hear is I put my headphones on mute. Mr. Rogers is like, and stop hitting me with your elbows. you want to go outside the plane? And I was like, oh my
You
God.
go outside the plane like you're William Shatner.
Yeah, I know, right? You always hear about those terrible videos about people doing things on planes or refusing to sit next to people or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I've just been the recipient of that and I haven't filmed it. So the next time I've made a resolution, quarter year resolution, that the next time someone gets into an altercation, it's going on World Star and I'm filming it.
So you're basically paying for like terrible airplane interaction improv.
Exactly. And it was only because I moved my tickets up because I wasn't supposed to fly back into town until later, but I got done with everything early and I was like, I want to get home as soon as possible. You got greedy
is what happened.
It's my fault. It's totally my fault. But you could tell that guy was charged up before he even got on the plane because he was just argumentative.
Like charged up on
everyone. Whiskey and
testosterone.
Five Guys hamburgers. That's what it was.
Bovine testosterone shots.
Yeah. So my travel in all means has always been hectic, I can say. I have the worst luck right now. I'm like on a string of bad luck with travel.
You know, I never have bad luck traveling.
Except for when we went to New York Comic Con.
This time is going to be terrible.
New York Comic Con.
Okay, plane travel, not driving through dumb Virginia travel.
Oh, yeah. So, anyways, that's what happened to me on my travel. Tell me what you guys think. You guys got any nice travel stories? You can hit us up at Pop Alliance Pod on Twitter and Instagram, facebook.com/Pop Collectors Alliance, or email us your fun travel stories to info@popcollectorsalliance.com. So weekly pickups, like I mentioned before, I got the Hedwig 10-inch in the day of 10-inchers. I was able to pick up Game of Thrones Mystery Minis, which we did a video on. I don't know if I mentioned it last week. If I did, just, chalk it up to my sickness. We got the Funko exclusive Light Fury in, which is a really awesome pop. Personally, I think so. Turned out a lot better than what I thought it would. Did you get one of those?
I did get one, and I haven't opened it yet. It's still in the cardboard box.
You got to open it up because the glitter on that pop looks really awesome. They did a really great job with it. I really liked it a lot. I didn't know if I was going to keep it or if it was something I was going to hold for the Alliance at a later date, but I actually think I'm going to keep it because it looks really good.
I'm excited to open it. I'm probably going to do a video of it because, we're trying to get more YouTuber videos up. So I got to find things for content, and that sounds like good content. So it'll be opened this weekend.
Yeah, I got to send you the videos over. We got tons of YouTube content. It's just that whole part of editing and finding time to edit. Video editing.
Just send it to me. I'll get it done.
Well, video editing is terrible, and I'll be the first one to admit when it comes to the podcast, and just to give everybody a sort of behind the scenes look at what we do. When it comes to creative, like graphics things, I have it in my head. I do not possess the ability to translate it from my head to a graphics design because, again, I'm not skilled in that area where, you and your wife both are. And then when it comes to videos, I think that I know the way that I want to make the video and I want it to make it myself, like I want what I picture the video to be to come out, but it's again, execution.
Yeah, I know the same feeling. My problem isn't with the video because I'm pretty adept at editing video and I'm pretty good at recording. But my problem is in my head, I'm like, I have all these ideas like, oh, I want this fancy stuff. I'm not good with doing special effects at all. And so one little thing can take me like 8 hours to do. And I'm just like, yeah, why isn't this easier? It should just be a button I can push to make this happen.
It should be drag and drop special effects.
Well, I mean, some part of it is, I use After Effects and it is fairly, but when you start digging down into it, you want something like, I got something in my brain, and to make that thing happen in my brain, I got to know like geometry and trigonometry and physics and all this stuff. I got to know the formulas for things. I don't know. I want to push a button and it does it.
Yeah. So
I say that, and then at the same time, I make fun of people that do the same thing. Clients that are like, come to me and they're like, I need a website made. I try to do it myself. Yeah, you tried to do it yourself. It didn't work, did it? That's probably the same thing here.
They have the AOL, like, remember the old AOL days where you used to have like the dial-up Internet Explorer 1.0, where It was just
Netscape.
Yeah, exact Netscape, where you have the screen that flashes back and forth with patterns of ladies in dresses, and you're like, oh, it's Sally's dress shop.
Yep, lots of animated text and things flying around like toasters. There's a lot of that happening. That's how I want all my videos to be.
Yeah, that would be good. It was like old terrible billboards. That's what it was. It was just like a translation to say how terrible and how many colors of text can I put on this.
Does the text glitter? I remember that from like MySpace. How much glitter text you got on your page?
Oh yeah, the MySpace days. Going back like a throwback. And I think going back to what we were talking about, I think the last thing that I picked up this week was I got another Smee World box, and I failed again. Sour Patch Kid, the yellow version, Mr. Lemon Sour Patch Kid. And I had just literally, get this, this is my luck with mystery boxes. Hours before that box was opened, I purchased all 4 of the current Sour Patch Kids.
You messed up.
So what'd you pick up this week, Piper?
So I got old Glittery Dragon, which I have not opened yet, but I know it exists because that's what my UPS notification said. So I got that. I didn't care about Target Con at all. And you and I had this conversation. I don't know if it's off the books or not, but I really didn't. There was nothing that was like, oh God, I gotta get it. But there was a few things. Really, there's just one thing. I just wanted the Flock Mufasa because I'm a big Disney collector. So I didn't bother waking up. I didn't bother getting up to check. I didn't look afterwards. I didn't even go down to my local Target that day. I waited till the next day. And in fact, it was 4:30 p.m. by the time I got down to Target. And would you believe my Target had one of every single thing except for Michael Jordan and Darth Vader. Everything else was there.
Wow. That's crazy.
So I just walked over to the counter. I was like, oh, Mufasa. I grabbed it. The shirt's a large. It's not going to fit me, but I don't really care. I don't know. I'll throw that shirt in a box somewhere. But I got my Mufasa. So I was like, great. I didn't have to stress about it. And I walked away. I walked away a happy camper.
Well, that's a cool pop, too.
I looked at it on the box. I haven't opened it yet. Again, I'm shoot a video for it so we can open it all together.
Everything is unboxing videos.
Now that's what it's going to be. That's going to be my life from now on. Is just unboxing videos. I was like, oh, here's my groceries. I'm going to take them out of the box so you can see.
Oh, that'd be great.
Look at these short ribs. They're delicious.
Ritz crackers.
So, yeah, that's it. Ritz. I got that, and I really think that those are the only 2 pop that I got. I don't. Oh wait, no. Oh no. Something will be here. People need to watch our Instagram because we have a few things that are about to go up on Instagram as soon as they get here. So we will be doing a magical mystical giveaway, and I think everyone will be pleasantly surprised with what is going to be given away. That's all I'm going to say. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I know about it, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So follow us on Instagram. My voice is crackling.
You don't follow us on Instagram until I put the post up, because then you're gonna have to follow us anyway.
Yeah, and then you're gonna have to tell all your friends to follow us, and then the friends of their friends to follow us, and that's how word of mouth works.
It's a whole Kevin Bacon situation.
Oh man. All right, so that's our pickups this week. Tell us what you guys picked up at Pop Alliance Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Also, give us a follow there. We're trying to build our fans up. We want to get to 1,000 followers on each platform, but preferably Instagram first. That's been our really main focus here as of late. We're going to have a lot of great content at Emerald City Comic Con, so you can check that out. And I'm sorry if my voice sounds terrible. I'm listening to my voice now in my headphones, and it sounds terrible. So don't think that I'm dying. I'm not dying. Hopefully I can be healthy, because we do have a very special thing happening on next week's podcast. So you should tune in, definitely.
You will not regret it.
It is something that we're going to surprise you with. Tune in next week.
Should we say it is straight fire? It's going to be good.
It's going to be done well. So check it out next week.
Yep.
Again, a lot of content for YouTube is coming out on our channel. More and more. I would expect a lot out of Emerald City Comic Con. You can go to YouTube, search for Pop Collectors Alliance, click on us there. If you like what you see, click the bell, click the likes, click the subscribes to make sure you get updated as our content releases. Again, sign up for the newsletter. It should be coming out on Friday of this week. That's when we have it in our content calendar. So lead into Emerald City Comic Con. There's some great exclusive only items for patrons, and maybe Piper can give you a preview, so that might make you want to become a patron. I personally think it's an awesome design. Hint, it's a t-shirt, but if you're not a patron, you'll never know.
Well, you could see it on the website. You just can't get to it to buy it. It's a tease.
Yeah, so check that out. Sign up for the newsletter to get links and awesome PCA merchandise and be entered into our monthly newsletter giveaway. Remind everybody, our goal for 2019 is 100 patrons total by the end of the year. Again, anybody that you refer, let us know, and we can hook you up with some awesome PCA merch and giveaways. Rewards for everyone, my friend. No auction or live stream this Friday. We will be traveling. Maybe we can do something small, but I don't know. It depends on how I feel. By Friday, there will be no auction this week. Don't worry about it. We'll be back with a bang. March is, I've dubbed, our patron month. So if you're not a patron, you should go to patreon.com/popcollectorsalliance to be a part of this amazing community.
If they become a patron, they can watch me cook spaghetti.
With the spaghetti.
Yeah. That's going to be a regular thing. We're just going to have
ASMR
spaghetti night.
ASMR Piper eats hot pizza pockets.
No, I'm not going to eat it. I'll do a little, I'm going to do a recipe tutorial.
Oh, there you go. That'd be great.
For all the patrons.
Patron only. They're just like, guess what we got to do last Friday? We got to watch Piper cook and eat spaghetti.
And no talking though. It's just going to be like a very intimate experience. It's going to be like you looking through the window at me cooking spaghetti and then eating it. That's and all. It's a Patreon exclusive, man. Just spaghetti time.
And that's what pushes us over the 100 members. It's like, that's what gets us there. It's like, it becomes like this huge internet sensation of Piper picking spaghetti beard.
Maybe every week it could be different kinds of spaghetti.
Yeah, some with Fruit Loops in it, some with meatballs, some with 4 cheeses.
No, man. I can make some. I've been really, really wanting to eat Filipino spaghetti, like they have at
Jollibee.
At Jollibee, like the sweet spaghetti with like hot dogs in it. That's what it's gonna be. That's the first episode.
Or you're gonna make the elf spaghetti like we talked about before, like maple syrup and what are those things? Jawbreakers.
I'm not an elf.
You have the beard of a young Santa Claus, my friend.
I'm getting there.
All right, you guys, we're going to have many articles coming out this week. There should be an article for myself that Piper's going to post. There's definitely an article from Tiffany going up. And hopefully Piper puts his article up that was due January the 10th.
Don't tell me when things are due.
What did you say 2 episodes ago? It'll be done tomorrow.
Yes, it will be done tomorrow. Whenever you listen to us, it'll be tomorrow.
Oh, I love it. I love it. All right. So everybody knows about all the Funko news that came out this week. And, alluding to I guess we're fortune tellers on the podcast. We should call ourselves Papa Cleos. That's what we are. Because we're predicting everything.
Second reference to Miss Cleo on this episode.
Yes. I think 2's our limit, right?
After that, we get sued.
Yeah. Yes. IP. You got to IP that.
Right.
So Funko announced this week the Funko app, and we've talked about it on the podcast before, and we basically predicted that this is what's going to happen. It was killing Stashpedia and also opening up their app to control, I wouldn't say control, so to speak. Maybe that's the conspiracy theory behind it, but to manage collections and value of said collections within their own Funko-owned app. I can see Piper through the video right now, and he's literally biting his lip right now. Not saying.
No. We did call it. I wish we wouldn't have, or I wish we would have been wrong. but I think I'm going to try and be optimistic here because I do think that this could be positive, especially as more and more information slowly trickles down the interpipes. I become less and less standoffish about the situation. So I'm starting to open up about it, and I think that it may potentially be really good.
Yes, it's really hard because no matter how optimistic we are about it, there's a thin line, right? And I read a lot of things in message boards, and I wouldn't say that this is totally being transmitted out and on the receiving end, people are getting, 100% negative feelings or 100% positive. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I would say for every good comment, there's a bad comment. And there are ramifications that come out of this, right? The perception is the key. And I would say not even from my own opinion, right? But just what I see fans perceive this as, the potential that this could do things, because ultimately you hear conspiracy theories and things that are behind it where people are like, well, they're going to control the value of all the things that aren't selling on the shelves. So why wouldn't they drive up the value of those items so that people buy them? But I tend to not agree with that from that perspective, because if Funko loses trust in their customers, then their customers will go away. And I don't think that Funko's trying to do anything to lose trust within their customers. And then I heard a rumor, and again, I'll preface this with a rumor, is that they're utilizing Pop Price Guide for their data. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. And I don't know if Pop Price Guide would even give them their data. But to me, I would assume that what my opinion of what Funko's going to do, and Piper, I'll let you chime in after this to see if you tie in with what I'm saying here. I think that one, they're going to use this as a value monitor, collection monitor. Yes, that's what their intent is. That's what they've expressed to us already, with integration to bring your collection over from Stash, Pedia, and seamless transition. So we hope, right? The second part of what I think they're going to do is create a marketplace, much like the marketplace you see at the Pop Price Guide. And what does this do? Even as Pop Price Guide is consuming data with the sales that go on in their secondary market, I believe that Funko will also utilize that data in the value determination of their prices. Do you agree with that, Piper?
I think that is a logical thing because you and I both come from a world. I mean, my background is in IT, and, I know your background. So we know that companies do not do things, especially do not develop pieces of software, if there is no money to be made. They don't too often do things for free, especially not something that is going to require the upkeep, the labor, everything that's going to be involved in this application development. There's too much involved here for them not to be making money off of it. Okay. So I agree with that. And the only place that I can see that happening is, first of all, maybe direct sales to customers. That would be like kind of the most logical place to take it. Like, okay, new pops come out, instead of you going and getting commons from, whatever your local comic book store or whatever, you can buy them straight from Funko. Okay, that would be one logical step. The next only logical thing I can think of is either going to be some kind of subscription-based service that will get you access to other things. Maybe it will let you add multiple collections in there. Maybe it'll unlock something, but some kind of subscription service. Or the last thing being some kind of a marketplace where you can sell your pop, and they would use that for research and development, or future items coming out, or whatever else. So I think that that's probably where they're going to be making their money off of this.
Agreed. I really like what you said there about marketing, and me and you both know a little bit about marketing, and I think that a big thing here is that consumable data that you get from people searching for things, people putting in items that they want or looking for. If they do set up a secondary marketplace, do they charge a convenience fee like eBay of 10% or 5% or whatever it is? And they can consume your data real time for things that you're looking for to direct market to you. Like you said, selling directly to the customer, cutting out the middleman. It's like, oh, well, I know Rick wants all of the characters on Game of Thrones. I can individually send him an invoice or a coupon for these items, direct sale to him, and make a significantly higher profit, which from a business sense and a collector sense is a good thing. That's my personal opinion.
I think it could be a good thing as long as it's not abused, because
Agreed.
I think that this is the gray place that we are starting to come up on. And again, this is speculation and a best guess from us because we don't have any insight. We don't have insider information. We don't pretend like we do. So, but yeah, I think that if it is treated the right way, if people's habits and data and all that stuff is not abused, I think that it would be a great thing. Because I mean, I would love if I'm hunting for something and I got a little like a notification. It was like, hey, these items, here's a 15% off on all the, My Hero Academia second wave. Oh, that's great. I want to buy them all and I can get them all from Funko and maybe at a slightly reduced price than what I would get retail. And maybe I can get, if they can get their shipping under control, give me a fair price on shipping. That would be great too. So maybe it might be good. It might be bad, but it's one of those things I think that we just really need to keep our eye on.
Agreed. And I think that, and that's my segue right into some of a little less good and some of the what could be perceived as bad or be bad. So we've already discussed they're tracking your data, and this data is real data, searching that you can consume, what you're searching for, what are your favorite things. Now, in a pop culture sense, what does that mean for the larger audience? And what that means is the data that you're consuming. We're talking about pop culture here. Pop culture spans outside of Funko. So one of the big things that you see with Facebook and Google is third-party data usage. So they sell your data, package it up, and send it to people. One of the negative aspects of this is that they could track your data. You agree to downloading the app and installing it. Now they're tracking your data, and they can see, oh, well, Piper likes to order things from Disney. Hey, Disney, why don't you start sending Piper emails? Here's his data. In that data aspect of it, which could be, to me, I don't want to get extra emails or advertisements for things outside of the realm of Funko when I'm using a Funko app. And I'm not saying that they're going to be doing that. I'm just saying that possibility exists when you're driving that much data through an application.
Yeah. Look at the issues that are going on right now with like Facebook. How, I don't know about you, but every day my wife yells at me about, we were having a conversation about washing machines last night, and today on Facebook I saw 386 advertisements for different washing machines. So
exactly.
As long as this does not turn into that situation, then I think it will be okay. But again, this all comes down to respect for data and respect for the individual. And if that can be maintained, which I don't think Funko's ever shown any habits that would point to the fact that they would take advantage. But again, you never know. When tempted with the possibility, who's to say what they would do?
Exactly. And that's more of a segue into my second part of this is perception equals reality a lot of times for people, especially in the world that we live in when a lot of people are going home and putting on tin hats, aluminum foil hats, and doomsday prepping and doing all this stuff. Perception is reality. And when you are a company that owns the value credentials in your secondary market, it creates a stigma in some people that say, well, they're just going to manipulate the data. They're just going to manipulate this, or they're going to do that, or they're going to get this out of hand. And I don't think that's Funko's intention. And if it is, I'm sorry. You're hearing me right now on the podcast, March the 6th, saying, hey, I messed up. But I don't think that that's their intention. However, perception equals the reality in some, and people are going to interpret this as, well, they could just mark up the prices of pop that they want. They could compress the values, right? So it could get smaller at the top and higher at the bottom is what I'm saying, for lack of better words. So it's like compressing audio, right? I'm bringing everything to the center so I have a nice round solid number without these anomalies in data that cause these spikes on Pop Price Guide. I cut those little 1% dots off, and then I compress the data down. Whereas some of the harder items become cheaper, but some of the newer items on the shelf become more expensive, which is an encouragement because they sell to vendors and retailers other than the Hot Topic, etc. It's an incentive for flippers in the secondary market to go there. So a lot of the negative comments I've seen, and I want you to chime on this, Piper, because I know that you've got a lot of good input here, is that people don't like it on the lower values because it's going to inflate a value that's extrinsic. It's not real, and people aren't going to purchase it at that cost, but flippers will still buy it off the shelf. So you get what I'm saying? And that's really my opinion there. It could be perceived as compressing that value and manipulating it a specific way. And again, I don't believe this, but I know people that do.
Yeah. So this has been, when we originally talked about this, when it kind of first came out that Funko bought Stashpedia after the cease and desist and all that other good stuff. My big fear was the fact that when you have a company that is also controlling what the secondary market is doing, that's never a good thing because too much power is really dangerous. And it may not be. Who's to say it isn't just a rogue agent at Funko that decides, hey, I want to make these tweaks because whatever, I'm crazy, or not crazy, but something there. Who is to say? Because it's just a dangerous game to be played. And I don't think that it'll happen. I really don't, because it's a gamble at this point, to where if they did do something like this, it could pay off big for every retailer. It could pay off really big for Funko, and who knows, maybe even pay off big for some collectors. But on the other side of that is people catch wind. People are smart. Like, honestly, when you have groups of people out here, they're able to do things like reverse engineer Walmart's API to be able to tap into it to pull inventory numbers for every single store in Walmart's network. They're going to figure out that Funko is making these changes and tweaks. I mean, the smart person can just look on eBay and see what things are selling for, and it's kind of hard to deviate from that. So it's a gamble that I don't think Funko is willing to make, because the wrong move here could, like you said, cause a huge amount of distrust in the product and in the company, causing people to just say, okay, I'm done with this. And then all you're left with is the people that collect because they love the product, and it alienates a large group within the community. So, I mean, I don't see it happening. I don't think it's going to happen, but there is a chance it could. And that small chance that something could go awry is my greatest fear. That's the sum of all fears. And I just hope that is not an accident that occurs.
Yeah, I agree. And I also, just to add a little bit, I think that also keeps them honest potentially, because the risk does not outweigh the real reward there. Because if you lose your consumer base or confidence in your consumer base, then, that's what happens. So more to come on that. We'll see.
And that's it. That's it. I think the fact that they are being forced to be honest is going to make the product superior to what Stashpedia was doing. If they don't, in fact, use Pop Price Guide's algorithm, then they'll do better than what Pop Price Guide is doing. So, in that sense, yeah, this could ultimately be amazing. And now you have a de facto standard that says this is what value of an item is. There's no real question about it, because nobody else has come up with a better way to do this. And maybe that in turn will force other companies to pop up and be like, hey, that's great that they're doing it this way, but we came up with an even better way and a more strategic and a more true life way to value these items. So it creates competition, and competition is good. Competition creates growth.
Yeah, agreed. And I think, my last word on this is that personal opinion, I feel that secondary market is best derived off of the consumer and not the product owner. But tell us what you guys think about this week. Again, hit us up at Pop Alliance Pod on Twitter and Instagram, facebook.com/Pop Collectors Alliance. Email us at info@popcollectorsalliance.com. Do you think the Funko app is a good thing or a bad thing? Let us know. We want to hear from you. And then just to sum up this episode a little bit, we'll touch a little bit on another story out of Funko this week. They are going to launch a children's book. They are partnering with Sterling Publishing to release. They want the Wetmore Forest. I mean, they are pushing it hard, aren't they?
I love the way that they look, but I don't care about them at the same time. But you know what? For my daughter's sake, I'm very happy that they're doing this, and I will buy it. Whatever they come out with, I will buy it because my kid, she likes the way they look.
Yeah, the books will be sold online and in-store exclusively at Barnes & Noble, along with a company of Funko merchandise beginning June 15th, 2019. And that's pulled directly from globenewswire.com. You know, I like this idea too. I think it's outside the box thinking like the board games. It's not something that's going to really affect collectors unless they start saying, hey, this is an exclusive book to San Diego Comic-Con. You know,
dude, you know it's going to happen. It's not going to be.
I mean, with comic books, I think you can do that.
Said that now.
Comic books, yeah, just introduce the problem. Comic books, they have alternate art covers, you know, things along those lines. I don't think they're going to do that with this book here. I think this is just indoctrination. And like, hey, kids, you know why mommy and daddy love these things so much? Let me tell you a story. And then it's going to be like Jim Henson visits Wetmore Forest with Kermit the Frog. And then their kids are just like, I need that, Pop.
I know, right?
But
getting them in early.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's anything that gives back to kids here. It gets kids into the hobby because I think, you know, out of everything that you could be doing in the world, collecting Funko is like the least worst thing that you can do. So I support it. I'm excited about it. What about you, Piper? You're good, right?
I'm good. I hope they come out with exclusives. I need a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive issue number 0 of Tumblebee and Flumper Dumper. They go into the river and they find a diamond. That's the name of, that's the whole title of the book.
The whole entire title. I'm looking for the Happy Tree variant. Happy Tree Friends variant.
Yeah. No.
Wetmore Forest. Slaughterhouse 2019. Dum 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 dum. Tumblebee found a chainsaw and he's ready to have fun with Wetmore Forest. Oh, Texas Chainsaw Massacre through the Wetmore Forest.
Hey, if Funko's gonna hire us to do the audiobooks,
that would be great. Hey guys, I could just get sick and be able to do the deep voice. In a world. We literally just said it at the same time. In a world where creatures live in trees outside of Seattle, Washington, there's a man that lives on his own in a shack. Washed up Tumblebee.
He's a hermit.
And a password for Funko Fun Days tickets. His name lives in infamy. I love this deep voice. I love it. So tell us what you guys think about the children's book series, you guys. We're excited to see what they come up with. Let's see what storytelling Funko can do. They're partnering up with Sterling Publishing, like I said, so I don't fear that anything bad will come of this. And it's also good for their stock prices because they are diversifying their portfolio. So stockholders out there, I hope you're holding on to your stock. It looks like a bright future.
Are we giving we're giving investing advice now?
That only here on the I want to do that voice again. Get your stock advice from the Pop Collectors Alliance. All right, guys.
Every third episode.
Every third Tuesday at 8 p.m.
We're like the crazy money guy. I just need lots of buttons and then like confetti.
Oh yeah, what's that guy's name again?
I don't know. Stupid Money Steve.
I forget his name, but he did have Brian Mariotti on the show. I forget. It's just like it's a name that you would normally know, and then when you try to mention it, it's like, what? Whose name is that? Don't remember. Anyways. All right, the last item this week, we are going to Emerald City Comic Con if you guys haven't been able to tell from the last 4 weeks. We are down to the final week. Piper is flying. I am driving. We're taking a 3-day road trip up there. We're going to be stopping in Denver, Boise, and then to Everett, Washington. A lot of great things next week. I'm telling you guys, keep your eyes open and your ears to the pavement because there's going to be tons of great content next week. We got into the Funko pre-party, so that's huge.
Oh, Mad Money with Jim Cramer.
Jim Cramer, there you go. So Jim Cramer, he's like, he had a little Jim Cramer Funko figure on there, custom. So there you go. But we're going to be at that pre-party, so hopefully we can get some great goodies that we can share back with the Alliance, unless it's like a Game of Thrones proto, then I'm sorry. That's not going to be shared.
Ricky's not going to share that with me. He won't even let me look at it or hold it.
Do not touch it.
Dude, what if, just to throw this out there, what if you get Freddie Funko, Jamie Lannister prototype?
I would immediately have a bowel movement on the floor.
You would cease to exist in that. You're just dead. Nothing, no explanation, just all your parts stop working. You're just dead.
I was talking to my kids on the way home from school, and we like to tell funny stories to each other. And this is something that ties into what you were saying. So like, I told my kids, I was like, well, what if your dad got struck by lightning? And they would be like, well, are you okay? And I said, well, what if I got struck by lightning and I turned around and I was smoking? And I was like, don't worry, guys, I'm fine. And then my head went and exploded. What would you do? And then my kids like got like a teary-eyed face, like, why would you say that? That's what would happen if I got Freddie Funko Jamie Lannister. You'd be like, Rick,
you would just die in front of your children.
No,
is that what you're saying?
No, they well, luckily they won't be there, so they won't see me die. But you'll be like, Rick, oh my God, can you believe what you got? And I look at you, I'm like, I'm okay, man.
Just like you're a blood fountain.
Yeah.
But then your kids will have to hear about it on the news.
Either way, yeah, like Benson Proto or Jamie Lannister. I've looked for a Benson Proto forever. I have never found a Benson Proto. I've never seen one. Dude, in the proto groups,
they're holding
anything.
on to it for you. It's fate. It's gonna be there. They're gonna. No, you know what would be the best thing in the world is if I got it and you got an awful one, like happened at the fugitive party. I get some random lady with handcuffs. And I'm like, what is this person? And then you got. Well, actually, it wasn't you. Got somebody else at the table. Got like some freaking cool stuff. It was stupid. If it's someone else, we'll just beat them up for it.
Well, that's this episode this week, you guys. I'm going to close it out. I'm sick. Thank you guys for joining us. Until next time, guys, I'm Rick.
I'm Piper.
Good night.
And do good things into the world for people.
I love you.
Mom.